Welcome back to the Investor Unite podcast.
If you're looking to ignite your real estate, then hit that subscribe button for Investors Unite.
You have clicked on the right video. I'm your host, Stefanie, alongside with
Skyler Plot.
And in this episode, we're talking about hiring a virtual assistant, what you need to do, what's the best training system, how you should just organize your business in general, and, get started with like hiring employees, not just, VAs, but just growing your business overall.
Building that team.
Yeah,
that's definitely a great summary. I think we should start off with explaining when we think it's appropriate to hire your first employee.
Yeah.
So, as we've stated previously, we officially founded our LLC in June, July.
Yeah.
But we actually started with your old LLC back in March. So we'll count from March until when we finally did make our first hire, and then what kind of responsibilities they took on.
Yep. And I know, like, when people are getting into the real estate investing, real estate wholesaling business, they want to hire like that.
Yeah.
Which can be very crucial. It could really mess up your business because when you're making these hires in the beginning, like right when you start, you don't know how the business is operated. You don't know how to make the proper cold calls, what to say, what the objections should be.
Right.
And you should be going through that. Like, I would say, I know a lot of other real estate investors that are up there, they say, like, you need to be doing it first before you delegate the task to someone else.
Right. I completely agree. So having that experience is just going to make it 10 times easier when it comes to hiring somebody, because you're already going to pretty much know the groundwork of what you should be expecting and, certain key points that could definitely improve their work as well. So that's definitely great. I'm thinking, so what, our very first VA was yours, correct?
Oh, which one are you talking about?
Sheila.
Yeah.
Is that your first one?
So that was my first one, yeah.
Right.
But no, we had her. We got her together.
Right, no, we did.
Yeah.
That was the handle part of your task for...
Yeah. So she does our probates.
Yeah.
Does all that stuff, does our data entry, and she does a phenomenal job. So, like, when you are looking for VAs to hire, you can definitely check them out on Upwork.com. That's where, we got a couple of ours, and they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, so definitely comes down to screening, though, because when you go, we'll use Upwork as the example because that's what we have used.
Yeah.
But when you go to Upwork and you're looking for a specific person to handle a certain role in your company, you're going to get a list of 100, maybe 1,000 plus people who feel as though they're capable of handling that job.
Yeah.
So it's really important to go through and actually screen them, give them like a little test run you could do, listen to... Well, it depends on what they're doing.
It depends on the task you're looking for, but what we like to do is, have them send us previous work that they've done, or we'll also do like a test run, say, hey, I'll give you this assignment, this practice run to do within like 24 hours, see how fast they do it, see who does it the fastest, see who does it correctly, and then go from there to the next step with the hiring process.
And in what month did we hire Sheila? Do you remember?
I think that was in July, maybe.
I'd like to say July. It was right after we founded the LLC.
Mm-hmm.
So March, April, May, June, July.
Yeah.
Pretty much 5 months until we actually did hire our first VA.
Mm-hmm.
Given that 5 months, I mean, that was something that Stefanie and I got the experience in doing ourselves.
Yeah.
So we understood the assignment at hand, we understood all the responsibilities that went into it, and what we really are looking for when hiring a VA for the same task.
Yeah, I was doing the probate entry before she was doing it. I don't know, did you try it out before?
I did one time.
Okay.
That was kind of your thing.
Yeah. So I would do it all the time, so I knew what to look for. I knew how to break down the directions for her, so I literally wrote out 2-3 page paper of like, this is what you do now, this is what you click on, this is just all the steps following along. So when you're doing the task, it just makes it so much simpler to explain it to someone else of how to do it.
Yeah.
Compared to, okay, if I just give you a task and I never done it before, it's like you're coming to me with all these questions that I don't even know, and it's just going to make the business fall apart. because it's going to stress you out more, stress me out, and then it's like, all right.
It just becomes too much.
Yeah.
Along with going through, and kind of what you had said previously when hiring your employees, I know you want to grow and scale that team as fast as possible just to get more work done, reach out to more possible sellers.
Yeah.
But one of the main issues with that is kind of what you said, where it gets to be a little bit too much and you have too much overhead coming into your your company right away.
Yeah.
Where you might not have the experience or the capital to fund that and actually get those deals, get the leads, close the deals.
Right.
And you could run out of money very quickly.
And VAs. It costs money to have a VA.
It does. And granted, it is not a lot depending on what country they're from, what kind of task you're assigning them, how long they'll be working, or how many hours per day, I should say. Mm-hmm. So that definitely has a bunch of variables. With Sheila, so we hired her on she was doing more at first, wasn't she?
She was doing more at first, and during that time, we actually, our overhead was higher because we had no deals closed at that time.
This was all out of pocket money.
Yeah, so we were just, both of us, our separate checkings account, adding to our business account, just keep adding. I think it was every week or every 2 weeks or so, just to make sure she was getting paid, because we literally had no money in our business account. So that's when,
right around that same time is actually when we closed on that first deal. So that did give us some funds to be
little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. I mean, we did take our little percentages out of it, obviously set aside 30% for tax and everything. Mm-hmm. So we just had a small portion there to play around with. And that definitely came in handy when having to pay the VA.
Right.
Along with, all the other software programs and everything.
So yeah, we had the money there. It was just, it felt like it was running out so fast because we didn't have any other deals lined up.
Yep.
Mind you, we were working on that Novation deal, but we were still coming out of pocket because we had to, pay for the cabinets to be painted, pay for the flooring in the kitchen. So our money was tight. Yeah. Yep. The money was tight, but, we pulled through.
Yeah, I mean, we did everything, I think, to the best of our ability, just to keep the company above ground, I should say.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, she started off, I don't even know, what was it, about $4.50 an hour?
I think, and this is going to be so different for everyone. Everyone's going to have different payments.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to hire someone, you don't have to go based off of what our stuff is.
No.
It's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah. And they also typically do have a requested amount that they would like to be paid.
Yeah.
Prior to hiring them on.
Right.
So you kind of get an idea of hopefully they're asking for more money if they do have greater experience. Mm-hmm. So that's something you do want to look out for. But once again, it's going to cost you a little bit more.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're looking to get or hire people from the United States, it's going to be now probably $12, $15 an hour, whereas
minimum wage is $7.25, but no one's going to accept that these days.
Yeah, and they're not going to
is paying higher than that.
Literally.
Yeah. And
if you're going to say hire someone from the Philippines or hire someone just outside of the United States, it can be different. So it could be $4 an hour, which is a lot of money. The currency is just
it's
so different. You have to look into that too.
Right.
But yeah.
Nice. So yeah, we did bring Sheila on. She was doing a little bit more than we have her doing now. We also was she the one who started texting for us as well?
She was texting, yeah.
So she was so we did train her on SMS a little bit.
Yeah.
And we bumped her pay up actually to $7.50 an hour, which that was running us dry.
Yeah.
And just from our experience, which we might not have had the right template or the right platform or even the right experience and training going into the SMS texting. Mm-hmm. So that kind of really just blew all the money that we had.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty bad, but it's true. We were pretty. We were pretty down bad.
Yeah. Until October. October changed.
Until October, we got some more stuff in the pipeline and stuff closed up. But yeah, so before we actually bumped her up or promoted her to text and do the data entry for probates and all of that. Mm-hmm. I was the one that was doing a lot of the SMS beforehand.
Yeah.
I think I did it for probably about a month, maybe a month and a half.
And I also did it too. So like
you did for about 2
like,
weeks.
I don't like it, and you did it. You're like, I don't really like it.
This is pretty terrible.
And we knew I would say we pretty much knew what we were doing. Because we had like our first, what is it? The first message we sent out, we got a really high like connect rate, super high.
Yeah. And
then it was just the lead flow just wasn't the greatest, which we're coming back to SMS.
Yeah, we haven't implemented it back in since then.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I forgot what I was saying.
We were just kind of explaining how we did have a little bit of experience before we did decide to promote our VA into taking over that role. So once again, something to keep in mind. You definitely do want to do that. Maybe a month and a half or 2 months in total.
Just learn the process.
Yeah, it might not have been quite enough just because we were getting the contact rate, but keeping up with it was very difficult. We also had to bump her hours up, where before she was only doing like an hour a day for data entry.
Yeah.
To I think a total of six or seven hours.
6 or 7, yeah.
6 or 7 hours a day. So we 6-7 folded our her pay, but she was very grateful for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't really bringing us the income that we were looking to generate.
Yeah.
So that's something to be wary of. I later on went and hired another VA.
Yeah. We won't say her name.
I don't remember her name actually.
I honestly don't either.
I think it started with a D.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She just wasn't.
My girl was actually from India, I believe. But she, once again, the pay was around somewhere around the $5 mark.
Yeah.
Pretty standard for any virtual assistants.
And she was gonna do the texting.
She was gonna do the texting, and I did let her do it for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less. And
I think it was less.
Came to realize like she just really wasn't fit for the position, and she just wasn't really doing even as good of a job as Sheila was.
Yeah.
So we decided to let her go. So that was my very first termination of an employee.
And they say hire slow, fire fast.
Yep, hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was quite the experience. I've never fired anybody before. I've never been in the position to do so.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I feel bad, which it's a company. You have to kind of keep your emotions set to the side when operating the company.
Yeah.
So that's just something that had to be done, and I'm sure she had plenty of other work going on as well.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully
she's doing well. Whatever your name was, I forget.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
I'm sorry.
But like, the moral of the story is make sure you're doing the work first before you're delegating it out.
Yeah.
But once you really know the work, you do want to make sure you're delegating unnecessary tasks out, right?
Exactly.
So that you can help your company to grow in other aspects of it.
Right. Like that data entry that Sheila was doing for us.
And she still does.
And she still does it for us.
Yeah.
That's just like an hour worth of time or so that Stefanie or myself could be using more productively.
Yeah.
Just, follow-ups, analyzing appointments, anything of the sort, social media for you a lot of the time. So that was just a task that we felt as though could be delegated. It's pretty simple to do. So she was able to manage that very well.
Yeah.
And still going strong. So it's been a huge benefit for our company just on that portion. And then our next hire was actually a cold caller.
Yeah. Yeah.
So me and Stefanie.
I don't know if we should go into details.
I'm not going to go into too much detail. But Stefanie and myself, we were a little bit weary of actually hiring our first cold caller because we were like, well, we don't know how she's going to do, and we pay a lot of money for these leads that we have, paying for the list and everything.
Right.
It's like, what if she's not doing as good of a job as we could and possibly ruining any potential deals that we do have? So it was just something we were very cautious about. But our mentor, Dom, which we'll have on in a later episode, we talked to him a little bit ago about it. Something to look forward to. But he really did encourage us to start building our team, hire a cold caller, and instead of having her make cold calls the first day, because she did have somewhat of experience, we actually went through, I believe, a 2-week training period with her, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't fully remember. This was several months ago, and she's been with us for quite a while, and she's honestly doing great. But our training period consisted of a half-hour Zoom call.
Half-hour Zoom call. We go over
every single day.
my calls, Skyler's calls, just so she can kind of get familiar with how we're making the calls and learn how to handle objections. We'll go over those. We'll go over role playing. We'll have role playing sessions.
So role play is a huge part, I feel like, in increasing just their knowledge of cold calling. So just throwing any kind of situation that you might encounter out to them and seeing how they would handle it and what the response would be. We already have a general idea because Stefanie and myself, even after we did hire this VA, we were still making cold calls.
Man, I think in my lifetime,
it's probably 10,000.
No,
plus.
I would say even more because I called for agent stuff.
Yeah,
like literally my second day, I became a real estate agent. I made like 400 calls.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have to be in the 30,000 range or something just because of how many calls. So like the repetition was there, so we knew like okay, whenever our VAs are making calls, what to correct them on. What they shouldn't do or what they should do, what to compliment them on and stuff.
Tone of voice, when just to listen versus speak. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, as anyone out there who's cold called before will know, you get a lot of rejection as well. So that's a huge part, especially for our girl that we had hired, because she's a sweet little girl. I shouldn't say that. She's just
sweet little girl.
She's a sweet person, and you can kind of tell we're like. In the beginning stages, her emotions would get involved. Whenever people would say those nasty things, she would be a little bit hurt and discouraged on the further calls. Yeah. Or on the calls afterwards.
But she got used to it, and you're going to have people that do not get used to it. Right. So when you are in the interviewing process, I think it's always great to just dive deep to, who that person is. Have they done cold calling before? Have they done a sales position before? What's their overall background? Right. Have they went to college? Just dive so much deeper into who they are because this business is not for everyone and a lot of people can't handle the objection or the, people cussing them out. Yeah. So another thing we like to do on that interview call is also ask them what are their goals? Because Skyler and I personally, we want to help them achieve their goals, no matter what it is, we want to make sure we're able to help them. Since they are, potentially being a huge help to us during that interview process, if we do hire them, we want to make sure we're helping them and just being, having that team environment, that culture there and stuff like that.
So yeah, I mean, even now, up until this day, we still have our half-hour-long Zoom calls Monday through Thursday. Yeah. But every one of those isn't completely business-oriented. We want to make her feel as though she is, excuse me, we want to make her really feel as though she is part of the team. So we'll get sidetracked and we'll start talking about personal life, like what she's doing. She's currently in college as well, so making sure she has enough time.
Yeah, both of them. The one I think just graduated too. I don't know. Okay. I think so. I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, you're right. I think. She's a dentist now. Yeah. Congrats. But what was I saying?
With the Zoom calls.
Yeah, with the Zoom calls. So making kind of, as you said, figuring out what their goals are, just figuring out what's going on in their personal lives, however deep they're willing to talk to you about. They gotta obviously trust you a fair amount. Right. Talk to you about that kind of stuff. And you just gotta understand the culture is very different in these other countries as well. So those are always things that you have to appreciate and respect their cultures, understand that they do have different holidays. There's certain days that they can't work, depending on their religion. There's certain...
And they teach us stuff,
yeah, we've learned so much.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I like it.
It is. It's a very neat experience. But once again, I mean, within those Zoom calls, we do talk about business, at least for a segment of it. But going in and really building that relationship, I think, ignites their passion with the company as well. Just to really help us grow, help them grow. If it is a commission kind of job as well. I mean, we do pay her hourly, but on any kind of deal that we close,
that's her lead.
That's her lead.
We'll give commission as well.
Yep, exactly. It just kind of keeps her ignited.
Ignited. Investors unite. But no, I mean, that's pretty much our team right now. It's us two, the two callers.
Do you want to talk about how the second caller? Nah, probably not.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Danya.
What?
Just how she ended up coming into the team, because she's not someone that we directly actually were looking for. Or
I don't know. don't know if I can say.
I don't know either. We'll hold off on that. We'll talk to her supervisor.
It's us two, our two callers, the person that does our probate leads, and then we also have a video editor, but that's like separate from this.
Yeah, he's not directly going out and marketing for us, but I mean, he is helping us with content, obviously.
Yeah, most definitely.
These podcasts that you see.
Shout out to you, Husafa.
Yeah. So we're not taking the time ourselves to edit these. We do have very limited time these days with just how much our business has grown. So you just got to really figure out which roles you are looking to delegate off to any other VAs. And even if, like, I know you're probably actually pretty good at editing just from
it just takes time.
Just from how much you've done.
Yeah.
Myself personally I've never even experienced with it. Like, I know my social media is still completely, but it's just something I haven't really done. So I trusted Stefanie enough to go ahead, hire this guy because she trusted him to. Obviously, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. And from Upwork, it came from Upwork. So if you guys are looking to hire people, this is not sponsored by any means.
We're not affiliates of Upwork at all.
But Upwork, reach out to us so you can sponsor us. But
they have positions for everything.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're looking for anything, someone to do a website for you, someone to do editing, someone to do cold calling, check them out. Just create like what you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's just our team. And we kind of went over the hiring process. The questions you're going to ask is going to be pertain to what you're looking for. Just always make sure you're looking to seek previous experience they've done. And sometimes you may find someone that has never done what it is
you're looking for them to do.
Because that's how Sheila, like, she hasn't worked with anyone. I saw, like, I think her first hires on Upwork.
Yep.
So we gave her a chance and she's crushing it. So, the people that may not have worked with anyone just yet, I wouldn't like push them to the side. Always give them that chance and see if they're.
Yeah, and always make sure they do feel as though they're a part of the team. So that could be a huge part of it. If they don't, then they're not going to put nearly the work ethic in as if they were passionate about growing our company, because they know that they are a large part of our company as well.
Yeah.
So try to talk to them at least on a daily basis, as we were saying. And that can be very beneficial for you when scaling. So.
And I feel like that's all we can really talk about because I don't like talking on things that we haven't done yet. I mean, our future, we do plan on like hiring someone that's in-house for like acquisitions or so, but we haven't done that. So can't really talk about that side of the hiring process. This video is mainly pertained to, virtual assistants,
what we've done so far.
Yeah. Hiring people overseas, what we've done so far. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comment them down below.
A question they might have is how do we pay them? Because it's a little bit different since they are in another country.
So with Upwork, they already have the payments, so it makes it super easy. But with people that are in another country, sometimes
if you have a subcontractor of some type,
we'll just use Cash App. There's wiring. You can just bank wire or.
We've been requested that we use Zelle in the past.
Zelle. It all depends on
if your bank works with that. Yep. So always talk to your VA and see what they're most comfortable with and will be easiest for them to use.
Yeah.
And we always work around it. So that's something that not many people would think about, but does obviously play a factor. You gotta pay them somehow.
Yeah. And I would say just the number one thing before we close this out is that you got to make sure you're training your VA. If you just hire someone and
you expect them just to go
expect them to just be 100% of the time, it's not going to be good. Like, they're going to slowly go downhill. You want to make sure you're training them at least minimum twice a week. And we're doing it more.
Yeah, we do 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Depending on like their schedules as well, those days will fluctuate depending on our schedules in case we have like a meetup or an appointment.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll change a Thursday call to like a Friday or Saturday call. So just always working around it, being adjustable with their schedules as long as they are adjustable with yours as well. That's really all there is to it. I mean, VAs can be a great part of the team, but once again, make sure you're not hiring them on too fast just because you want to be lazy and don't feel like doing the work yourself. it's once you actually do have that experience and you know this is a role that you would rather have somebody else handle because it's taking up too much of your time and maybe it's not as productive as you would like to be, that's when you're going to start looking into hiring a VA.
Right.
So try to keep your overhead pretty minimal when you first get into the company. Kind of feel things out. Understand what your bank account's looking like, what you're able to afford, and what kind of tasks you would like to delegate.
And that is basically it, guys. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. Go subscribe if you're not subscribed.
Smash that like button.
And with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.